From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
Help is on the way. That's the message from the White House as it starts the national tour of your $14 third stimulus check. Yes, an actual national tour. The White House wants millions of Americans to know what is in the $14 third stimulus check package. But millions of Americans want to know when they're actually receiving direct deposit of that $14 stimulus check. I have all the details as well. Meantime, what else is in the third stimulus package? That's what the White House wants to educate the country across the board. Meantime, the White House issued advisories yesterday that Americans should not particularly travel if they don't have to. What will that do to this economy if it still remains stagnant? Elsewhere, breaking developments across the board as the major news out of Wall Street will hit tomorrow, when the Federal Reserve will issue its indication whether it's going to stop buying stimulus of this economy or whether it will continue its current path. Elsewhere, a push is underway to forgive student loan debt forgiveness, with new statements overnight from Elizabeth Warren and other Democrats. I have their new statement as well. There's a lot happening. The toast is toasting. The butter is buttering. And here it is. And there's also some coffee brewing. But do you have my bacon? Early Mornings is back, baby. And today with a special double header starting right now on LALATE. It's a big day with a lot of exciting news, and I'm so glad you joined me on what will actually be a double header today. Now, how did this happen? Well, let me explain what's going on. Yesterday, this channel recorded what was supposed to be an afternoon's LA broadcast, but it didn't get uploaded in time before evening's LA, and certainly it didn't make sense. So after this early morning's broadcast, you got another one. It'll use the graphics of afternoon's LA, but it's part 2 of early morning's LA. So after this show, you got another one of early morning's LA coming up right after this. So excited for you to join me. And of course, join me on Mornings LA back at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Boy, there's a lot of breaking developments. So if you've not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. The link is at the top of the chat and also in the pinned comment. So much is happening today. And of course, the big question is this fourth stimulus package with these reoccurring stimulus checks of $2,000 a month, presumably, for 6 to 8 months. There's also those developing details about what the IRS is doing for the change of your stimulus. Yes, there's actually a change underway that is actually a little bit more robust than anyone had seen before. But the big question across the board is, where is my stimulus check? Where is my stimmy? Where is the direct deposit of my stimulus check? And let me go over those details right now. $1,400 stimulus checks will be landing again in bank accounts today. They started on Friday, they continued on Saturday, they continued on Monday, and more will be appearing today. They'll appear throughout the rest of this week. There's no cause for alarm. There's no reason to believe it's missing or not occurring. Viewers have already been reporting to this channel that then when they use the Track My IRS Stimulus tool, it actually reported one thing on one day and another thing on the other day. The great news is that it's inaccurate, and the best accuracy of when to receive your stimulus check is actually the viewers' channel. How does this work? Let me explain. If you see another viewer in the comments of this chat of this video live who banks at your bank that says, I got my stimulus check, then you're likely to get yours as well. But if they also say, I didn't get my, or if they instead say, I didn't get my stimulus check, then you're likely not to have received yours as well. We've used this benchmark and this word of mouth as an indicator before, and it always works. Let me give you an example. We currently know as of Monday evening that viewers who are on Direct Express cards that receive their monthly benefits from the government on Direct Express had not received a stimulus check. Why? Because 100% of viewers had actually said in the comments to Monday's live chats, none of us have received the stimulus check on Direct Express. This is very good news because we all knew that was the situation for you. We also knew on Friday and Saturday that viewers who are on Chime or Cash App had received the stimulus check. So it works both ways. For example, if you use Cash or App or Chime and you're expecting the stimulus check to land and it has not yet landed, maybe you have a little bit of concern. But on the other hand, if you use Direct Express and you did not receive a stimulus check since Monday, you're actually in good circumstance because no one else has either. So what about everyone else that is waiting for a particular date? And when is that particular date? Here's what you got to know. All stimulus checks were sent out on Friday last week in one wave, and that ultimately your bank will decide when and where it's going to release it to all banking customers of that bank. They don't release it to some customers before others. That's something you've never heard from me before explained, but let me explain in this video. Banks don't release funds to one customer before another because they like this customer over another. No, banking regulations about releasing funds are determined by a computer system that is created by the bank itself. It's unique to that bank. So, for example, one bank on one corner may release the funds to viewers of this channel on March 17th, another may release them on March 18th. It's not a result of you, but a result of what that bank has determined as its policies for releasing funds. Great news is that ultimately you're getting funds potentially by the end of this week. Now, as to paper checks, the paper checks will start landing more in the next few days. What do we know about these? They're going to take about 3 weeks to deposit. So they would have taken it has been less than a week since the bill became law. But under the second stimulus, it takes up to 3 weeks to receive the paper check after it becomes law. So you're pretty good on that date as well. We're just starting that process. That's also for people on the debit card. Now, what do you need to know across the board for everything else? Well, the $14 stimulus check is one of many that will be arriving in a household. So if you have a household of 4, you're going to get one stimulus check for the amount of 4 people in the house. Now, household. Now, this is the strange novelty of the situation. Under second stimulus, and again now under third stimulus, I'm seeing some viewers getting stimulus checks of a 6-person household. There's no way to explain that, but that's sort of like the non-filer filing. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but sometimes it's absolutely delicious. Now, what should you know and what should you see? Throughout this day, I'm going to have a lot of updates about the direct deposit process. I have a lot of updates about the Direct Express deposit, Direct Express card. And I'll also have a lot of updates about tracking the stimulus, whether it's with the IRS tool or not. But the White House yesterday really took this to another level when it started what's called the Help is on its Way tour. This is very important for you for the following reasons: that the White House wants millions of Americans to know what is in the third stimulus package. How does this impact you? Ultimately, there'll be people competing against you for the other items in the stimulus package. And what are those other items? Let me go over them right now. They're really quite delicious, and they start with some automatic items and some not automatic items. The automatic items are unemployment, they are the children's check, and then the COBRA. Everything else is not automatic. COBRA will be paid by the federal government from April 1st to September 30th. Premiums will be no more than 8.5% of your adjusted gross income. Now, as to unemployment, that will continue uninterrupted. It will be FPUC at $300 to September 6th, and then PUA will be at 79 weeks, PUC at 53 weeks, and it will continue to September 6th. Now, something you have not heard of until this channel yesterday is this. This is a new statement from IRS about the $10,200. If you recall, the third stimulus package passed a provision that said your first $10,200 is tax-free. What do you do if you already filed your tax return? Well, IRS issued a statement, and this is what the statement says. IRS will provide taxpayers with additional guidance on those provisions that could affect their 2020 return, including the retroactive provision first made about the first $10,200 of 2020 unemployment benefits. For those who haven't filed yet, IRS will provide a worksheet. But those who have received unemployment benefits last year and have filed the tax return, IRS emphasizes not to file an amended return at this time until IRS provides further guidance. This is shocking. They're basically saying do not file an amended return at the moment if you're concerned about the situation, and that they're going to address it with a standalone guidance in the next few days. Now, this is something else I want to go over. Viewers have asked me, what do we do if we need to fix something about the stimulus check or the child tax credit, which is the $3,600 or $3,000, or you have to fix something else? IRS actually, I wonder if they're listening to this channel. IRS actually issued a statement about that. IRS strongly urges taxpayers not to file amended tax returns regarding the new legislative provisions, such as economic impact payments, the expanded child tax credit, and the advance payment of the child tax credit. This is huge. Now, let me explain what's going on. And this is the first time you're really hearing this anywhere, let alone on this channel. What IRS is concerned about is that this new legislation will cause a lot of people to get very excited about a lot of money. The President of the United States is going across the country this week talking about you're going to get $3,600 if you're 5 or newborn. You're going to get $3,000 if you're 17 to 6. And what IRS is concerned is that viewers will start to think, wait a second, IRS doesn't know about that child. Maybe I need to amend my return. And suddenly there'll be a siege of amended returns that IRS rather not have. So for now, IRS is saying, hold back on doing amended returns. We will fix it. Very interesting. The good news is that that does not start paying out until July, so you certainly have a while for that. Now, what are the other provisions of the third stimulus package, and when are those monies coming? Well, there is rental of $27 billion that'll start in the next few weeks in your cities and counties. That's for low-income, middle class, and also homeless people. You don't have to be behind on rent. It's for anyone unemployed for 3 months or more. They get advance priority, but it could be as simple as indirect hardship because of the pandemic. Hazard pay you have to declare on your tax return 2021 as an earned income tax credit. Age 19 with less than $25,000, essential worker. You'll get 1502. The child care tax credit also would be on the 2020 return. $4,000 for one child or $8,000 for 2 or more. Up to $50,000 of child care costs. Finally, support for restaurants and support for EIDL. Restaurants can get a grant calculating as subtracting your 2020 revenue from your 2019. And you can also get a $5,000 EIDL grant if there's less than 10 employees and you've had a downturn of your business. You do not have to be in a low-income based community. Now, this is really big because there's so much happening today. And among the major topics that remain front and center is how to track your stimulus check, how to know when your stimulus check is coming by direct deposit. I'll have more about those details in a second. But what I want to cut to is probably, singularly, the most important event to happen this week. And it's concerning the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is looking at the Treasury yields, which were relatively calm yesterday, staying around 1.6. And the Federal Reserve will have the FOMC meeting, that's the Federal Open Market Committee meeting, on Wednesday. At 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that day, it will release its notes. But what would the notes say? Mark Cabana, head of U.S. short strategy at Bank of America, says, we think it will be sound, a bit more optimistic, but still cautious. We think it will be hard for them to sound as dovish as they've been just because the facts of the ground have been improving. Meaning that stimulus is that this economy is starting to grow and that the Federal Reserve cannot remain too calm on its situation. As a result, we think they're going to sound a little less accommodative than the market is expecting. We think they're likely to show a hike at the end of 2023. Interesting. Now, not everyone else agrees about what's going on. Let me explain what this means for you in very simple terms. The 10-year Treasury note is a single indicator of where the economy is going. It determines your stimulus, it determines unemployment, it determines growth, and it determines inflation. It continues to move upward. If it moves upward slowly at a progressive pace, it's good. But if it moves abruptly, then the Federal Reserve may have to use some tools. Well, so far, the Federal Reserve for over a year has been buying mortgages and has been buying bonds to support this economy. It's also been keeping interest rates flat. Many think that tomorrow, well, Wednesday, the Federal Reserve will stop buying stuff to support this economy. But when will the Federal Reserve raise interest rates, which absolutely could cause market turmoil in a bad direction? This report said 2023, which is wonderful, but a lot of reports say early 2022. This could mean a lot for your stimulus because there is that fourth stimulus package and it's heating up. How is it formulating? Basically, it's formulating the following way. A series of Democrats in both the House and Senate are demanding reoccurring stimulus checks every month for at least 6 months. If it sounds like 2020 all over again, it is, but it's better. This time it's not just progressives, it's also moderate Democrats. And those Democrats, including Ron Wyden and Bernie Sanders, are asking for stimulus checks until this pandemic's over. And they're saying that unless the stimulus package includes it, then don't come back asking us for more assistance. We're not going to give you another bill to pass if you don't do that. This is huge because ultimately, while viewers of this channel may be wanting FPUC retro of $10,000, or hazard pay of $8,000, or once SSI, SSDI $2,400, this push of reoccurring stimulus checks under the fourth stimulus package, which is just happening right now, could be upwards of $16,000, $18,000. At least 12, but a lot more as well. This could be the big stimulus that people want. And if you think it's far-fetched, think again. Let me tell you what's going on. Yesterday, there was a lot of calls on Wall Street that says concerns that the president may start to raise taxes, that the president wants to spend a lot more money, that the president's secretly wanting to push for much more stimulus than you have ever heard. Where did this start? It started on Friday with calls from the White House to Democrats asking to take that child tax credit and make it lifetime. That would mean from age newborn to age 18, you would get $3,000 every year as a child. It's an enormous expenditure, and this economy doesn't have that money. But if the White House is willing to spend that money on children, it's likely to spend that money on you, yes, you, this year. Remember, this stimulus would apply to all viewers of this channel who make less than $45,000 a year. It would apply to people on SSI and SSDI. It would apply to hazard pay. And it would apply to people who want this real big money across the board. So when are you getting your stimulus check? And what is going on with the White House with those new statements? And what happened to Elizabeth Warren yesterday? I have more of those details coming up right after this commercial break. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And we're back. Yesterday, a series of major press conferences that impact your stimulus. One from Elizabeth Warren, one from the president, one from the White House, all across the board. It's a really exciting day with a lot of breaking details, and I'm going over them right now. But boy, how are you? It's a very exciting day. If you've not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Also like this video, and if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. The link is at the top of the chat and also in the bottom of this video. After this video, we go into a double header of early mornings LA, and as explained at the top of this video, it will say afternoons LA because it was originally taped for the afternoons yesterday, but was unable to air, but it's certainly relevant to this morning. So it's a new show you have never seen, it just has strange graphics for it. Let's cut to what the president said yesterday. The president appeared before news to talk about your third stimulus package. And during that press conference, he talked extensively about how quickly we need to get it out. Here's a little bit about that message.
This week, I can report this isn't just on the way, it's here, sooner than many ever thought possible. Over the next 10 days, we will reach two goals, two giant goals. The first is 100 million shots in people's arms will have been completed within the next 10 days, and 100 million checks in people's pockets in the next 100 days. Shots in arms and money in pockets. That's important. The American Rescue Plan is already doing what it was designed to do, make a difference in people's everyday lives. And we're just getting started. By the time all the money is distributed, 85% of American households will have gotten a $1,400 rescue checks. To give one more example, for the average family of two parents and two children making a combined income of $110,000 a year, that's going to add $5,600 for them. $5,600 they'll get. And the plan does a lot more. It extends unemployment insurance for the 11 million Americans unemployed and any who will be unemployed in the near term. It'll help hundreds of thousands of small businesses keep their doors open, which makes a gigantic difference in neighborhoods and communities. If you have a drugstore, if you have a beauty shop, a hardware store, it's a center of small communities. And it gets our schools and resources they need to open safely. It provides the biggest investment in child care since World War II. And it provides food and nutrition help for the millions of families, keep them from going hungry, keeping a roof over their heads. And it expands health care coverage and lowers health care costs for so many people. And it will cut child poverty in half in this country.
If you notice in this recording, so far the president has mentioned children at least 4 to 5 times. In 2020, Nancy Pelosi, sometimes comedically, would talk about children every third sentence. The president's repeating that message, and that message seems to sit well with some and not so well with others. It's among the Democrats that are wondering why aren't there more stimulus checks for adults? And that's why the fourth stimulus package talks about those reoccurring stimulus checks for adults. Because in this messaging about the third stimulus package, the president continues to push home the big issue about children.
Assessment. Child poverty will be cut in half as a consequence of what's in this Recovery Act. And it will generate economic growth for the entire nation. That's why major economists, left, right, and center, support this plan. Even Wall Street has agreed. According to Moody's, by the end of this year, this law will spur our economy to create 7 million new jobs.
Now, also at issue is what the White House said yesterday about educating the American people about stimulus. The White House said it's important for Americans to understand what is in the stimulus package and for them to hear it directly from the president. Here's what the White House said.
Bottom line for us again, what is the hope and expectation from this help is here toward this week?
Over the next couple of days? A big focus is we want to take a moment or take some time, more than a moment, to engage directly with the American people and make sure they understand the benefits of the package, how they can benefit from the package, and how it's going to help them get through this difficult period of time in our economy and our economic recovery, and also give them a sense of how we're going to use it to help address the pandemic. We recognize that signing the bill is just a first step, and getting the money out the door, ensuring people know how they can benefit, how it will help their local communities is an important part as well.
Now, also an important part is the issue of where are we in this pandemic? Yesterday, the White House had a briefing with the head of the CDC and Dr. Fauci addressing the issues of where we are in the pandemic. And these were among the message that was delivered. Generally, the White House's messaging was that not to travel if you don't have to travel, and that we could see a third wave if we're not cautious about the pandemic. Here's a little bit about what was said during that briefing.
Yeah, thank you. You know, it's not evenly distributed across the United States. We do have B117 reported in 50 jurisdictions, over 4,700 cases reported so far, and that's just...
Here she's referring to how many cases of the variant is now in different states across the country, far more than we originally thought.
Based on what we're evaluating and sequencing. In some states, Florida and California, it's up to 25%. In other states, it's lower. Our current models still project, but by the end of March, early April, B117 will be the dominant variant.
The variant she's referring to is the British one in that line of questioning.
Okay, next question. Next question will go to April Ryan at the Griot.
Thanks for doing this call. A couple of questions. Doctors, do you by any chance have solid numbers at this point on how many people have been vaccinated successfully with both vaccines as well as the one from Johnson & Johnson? And do you have adequate numbers of the breakdown on minority numbers? Because there is now a report from Brilliant Corners that talks about the reason why Black people have not gotten it. It's not what the original thought was about Tuskegee or Henrietta Lacks. It was basically, the hesitancy was basically about...
Top of my head, the racial breakdown this morning, but that is available on the CDC website. I think we still have a lot to learn with regard to why some communities are not choosing to be vaccinated. Some communities are more hesitant, and I would be reluctant to say that it's the same reason for every community. I think we have to meet people where they are as we try and get all communities.
But another issue that really heated up yesterday on a total different front was Elizabeth Warren. Now, when you think about Elizabeth Warren, the first thing you think about, of course, is the SSI and SSDI. But Elizabeth Warren yesterday was pushing again for student loan debt forgiveness. Now remember, this is a standalone bill in the Senate. It's $50,000. The president says he will not do it at $50,000, would do it at $10,000. Yesterday, Warren and Senators Bob Menendez of New Jersey, along with Chuck Schumer, spoke again with the president. And this is what Elizabeth Warren said about that conversation. President Biden has an opportunity to fix it with a stroke of the pen. The bill helps pave the way to cancel $50,000 in student loan debt. I think it's much harder to do it legislatively, Schumer then told News. We've not seen our Republican colleagues jump at the opportunity. Menendez says, why wait for legislation? What they're saying at this point is don't do it by legislation, do it by executive order. Warren says that a college diploma, which was surely the intent of most people when they took on student loan debt, has not always paid off for people equally. This is what Elizabeth Warren said to News about student loan debt forgiveness just a few days ago in her own press statement.
Parents' homes, lots of people who aren't buying their own homes, and one of the other things the data shows, lots of people who are not starting their own businesses. And all of those things hold back our economy. And I make that point because I'm sure there are lots of folks who are on this call tonight who don't have student loan debt. But here's the deal. Even if you don't have student loan debt, you will be helped by seeing student loan debt canceled, because it will help our economy. This is one of those things that doesn't have to go through Congress.
And there you go. A lot of details in a big day of early mornings LA. Stay with me as Early Mornings LA continues as it goes into the next half hour, starting right after this.